Okay, so it's the end of March, it's now April, and I'm now making a top 10 this video for 2018. This is my top 10 best films of 2018. It's very long overdue, but that's okay. I just wanted to make this video. I didn't want to ignore it at all. But I'm excited because it's a weird one actually, because 2018 there have been some good films, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, overall, I would summarize it as quite disappointing because for me personally, I look back at films at years as well, and there's always one film every year that sticks by me. It always stands by me. It stands out to me as being far superior to the others. I felt that way about Blade Runner. I felt that way about Nocturnal Animals, and the list goes on and on and on. There's always that number one film. This year, not so much. And don't get me wrong, there have been some good films, but it's just that there's not really been that film that has stood out to me. Well, actually, I guess there has, because otherwise there wouldn't be a number one. But I don't have that special feeling like I had in the recent years. I don't want to say any more. Let's just get straight to it. So let's talk about the honourable mentions first before we get to the list itself. And they are 8th Grade, A Quiet Place, Bohemian Rhapsody, Roma, and Incredibles 2. All great films. They just somehow did not manage to make the list. It's my personal list. I have not seen every film of the year. It's a personal thing. It's not scientifically accurate, nothing like that. Just my opinion. But let's get on to number 10, Thoroughbreds. This film was just messed up. Straight up, it was messed up. And it was very clever in its genre because it's a dark comedy, but it's also a psychological thriller. Very, very opposite things, really, I guess. And the characters as well, Olivia Cooke and Anya Taylor-Joy, they are fantastic in this film, especially Olivia Cooke. Her character is so different, it's so unique, it's so original. She is very emotionless. That's how you would describe her. She has no feelings whatsoever. Anya Taylor-Joy is very innocent at the start, but then somehow turns into a very sadistic persona. So that's how I would describe it. It's a dark comedy, and you would expect it to be one thing at the start of the film, but it's completely the opposite towards the end of it. That's how I would explain it. I know that people have not seen this film, so I urge you guys to go see it because it's a great one. Now, number 9 goes to Wildlife, Paul Dano's directional debut and starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Carey Mulligan and also Ed Oxenbould. I can't pronounce his last name. I think that's correct. I'm not really sure. But all three actors, phenomenal job, especially Carey Mulligan. Very, very good performances. Paul Dano's directional debut is off to a fantastic start because what he's done for this film is make it one of the most real films I have seen all year. It's so natural, it's so realistic looking. The cinematography alone is just jaw-dropping, and just the characters itself stand by to you so much, and you really do relate somehow. It's a very slow-paced, purposely so slow-paced film to really allow you to feel all those emotions that you're supposed to feel in a film like this. And they did a great job. They did a great job with this film. I couldn't be more happier. Coming in at number 8 is Annihilation. If you're a fan of sci-fi, but if you're also a fan of horror and a psychological thriller, this is the film for you. But if you're also a fan about ambiguity, if you really like a film that challenges you and wants to mess with your head, then you're going to love the ending. You're going to love the ending, and I loved it. I really did. It's a very polarizing feeling that people have gotten towards the ending. I still listen to the soundtrack of the ending, especially that dance scene, if you guys know what I mean. It's just a very weird looking film, but I just love it. It's just so different, and it's nothing that you really get. I had that feeling for Arrival as well. It's a real thinking person's film, and I somehow got very similar vibes between the two. I'm not comparing them at all. It's just it reminded me of Denis Villeneuve's film. Natalie Portman is great once again. The cast is brilliant. It's just a concept. The person, the director who allows that person to think and make a film like this, I tip my hat off to them. The imagination, the creativity that person has to make this type of concept in a film, it's mind-boggling. And please go see it. It's on Netflix. And number 7 goes to the darling film that people completely love, A Star Is Born. This film pretty much did almost everything that I wanted it to be, really. I was so excited for it. I was very anticipated for the film. I had high expectations and it did not disappoint. It really did not. Is it a perfect film? No, but it's a great film, at least. And Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga, their chemistry, once again, amazing, as you guys already know that from all those performances. It is a great love story between the two characters, and seek this one out if you still haven't watched it already, which I don't know how you haven't watched it. Number 6 goes to the horror flawless film Hereditary. This film, wow, this is when you talk about polarizing film, this is a perfect example. Hereditary, people loved or hated. Critics loved it. Filmgoers, or just the audience in general, not so much. I love film. I live and breathe films, and I am a moviegoer here and there, and I love the film overall. It's jaw-dropping. I'm a fan of horror, and I am so happy to say that this is a fantastic example of what a horror film should be. It doesn't rely on jump scares and this and that and ugly monsters. Nothing like that. It's all in your head. It's all psychologically messed up. Psychological genre is one of my favorites, psychological thriller at least, but this is a horror, which is pretty much even better. Toni Collette's performance is so good that she did not get nominated for an Oscar. That's how I can summarize how unimportant the Oscars have become now. Her performance is stellar work, completely, and this film messed me up so much, same way as how Annihilation did, but obviously I prefer this over Annihilation. Hereditary is a brilliant looking film. It is just shot so beautifully, and there is that one scene which I think you guys know what I'm talking about, which completely messed my head up. I couldn't stop thinking about it. The car scene. That's what I'm going to say. Number 5 goes to the surprising, fantastic YouTube premium film, Bodied. Produced by Eminem. I'm a huge fan of Eminem, and it's so interesting to see his involvement in the film, references and all these clues and ideas and references hidden in the film. It's a hilarious film. The dialogue is written beautifully. If you're easily offended in any sort of way, this is not the film for you. Trust me, it's not the film for you. It's just a great social commentary on where hip-hop and the form of rap is in today's society compared to a decade ago, and how it's more broad now, and the narrative, the plot, everything is fantastic. So much fun with this film. I had so much fun with this film. That's why it's in my top 5. Number 4 goes to the blockbuster film of the year, really, Avengers Infinity War. Every time I watch this again and again, I love it even more. It's just non-stop a thrill ride every time I'm watching it, throughout the entire runtime. Just everything that you're used to seeing in Marvel, expect it twice that, basically. Expect to be excited twice that amount for this film. Is it my favorite MCU film? No, it's not. Is it a perfect film? No. Very, very near to that. My favorite MCU film is Captain America Civil War. That film, to me, is a masterpiece. With this film, though, the Russo brothers have really stood their game, because you have all these characters, all these more-than-life characters, and they've all been written by other people in their own solo films, and now they're all together and they're written by these two brothers, these two brilliant brothers, and they did a stellar job. It's just so mind-boggling that a person like me who wants to do this in the future, wants to make films in the future, It's just incredible how you could write so many of these characters with just near perfect accuracy in a 2.5 hour film. I think it's fantastic. I love this film. It is so good. Thanos is easily the best MCU villain. It's incredible, and I can't wait for Endgame. Number 3 goes to Tom Cruise's most incredible stunt yet in a film, Mission Impossible Fallout. This film is considered to be, I consider it to be one of the best action films of all time. Same way how I felt about Mad Max Fury Road and all the Mad Maxes, really. I think this is the action film to beat, really, for quite a while, and I really doubt that anyone could beat it right now, because what this film did for me, man, was it just excited me so much. The bathroom sequence is flawless, stellar job. Henry Cavill, fantastic actor. Tom Cruise, yet again, he's a crazy 56-year-old man doing all these crazy stunts. You can't get enough of him. The narrative as well, the same director for Mission Impossible 5 is back for this one for the first time in the franchise, and a back-to-back director is quite worrying, but he handled it with perfection in the film. Number 2 goes to Green Book. I agree. I think Green Book deserves to have the Best Picture winner. I agree with that. Just my opinion. I cried quite a lot in a particular scene. Probably know what I'm talking about. And it's just a great film. Mahershala Ali and Viggo Mortensen, their chemistry is probably the best chemistry of the entire year. Hands down. Best supporting actor for Mahershala Ali. Very happy that he got that. Viggo Mortensen, great actor. I was just really happy. I was just glad to see this film in cinema anyway. It was a great feeling to realize that yes, I did watch it in cinema, and I'm glad to have. And number 1, of course, you probably know what I'm talking about. I've left it out for a reason. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I've watched this film twice, and I'm so glad I did, because the second time I loved it even more. Miles Morales' introduction to the big screen it was just long overdue, but worth it, because the way they introduced him, I couldn't have thought of a better way. The film being an animation film is not a bad thing at all. I realized that by ignoring this film, especially the trailer when it first came out, I ignored it. I was like, what is this, a Spider-Man animated film? What's going on? And I was so stupid to have thought this, because it's my number 1 film of the year. I did not anticipate this film at all, and I just had no expectations. I didn't even want to go see it, but after I heard how good it was, I was very intrigued. The animation itself is stellar job. I'm a huge fan of anime, and there are some qualities of that in the film, but it just feels like you're trapped inside a comic book, and it's awesome to have that feeling. Stellar work. Thank you for watching, guys. What are your thoughts? What is your list? Put it down below, and let's get this going. Thank you very much. I can't wait for this year. There are some good ones. Let's hope they're all good, and I look forward. Thank you.